My name is Brad Faraday. The number one issue that the municipal government is responsible for is effectively using our tax dollars. If the city doesn't spend our tax dollar wisely, then it is like building a home without a foundation. Not just because it doesn't allow us to spend money where we should be spending it, but because of the confidence it builds in each of us that the councillor is being accountable to us. The city should not have deficits year after year. We don't do it in our personal lives, and we have every right to hold City Council to the same standard. This is the number one issue because City Council has not managed its budget and has had deficits for the last 8 years. Now we have a debt of $3 billion. That means that 20 cents out of every tax dollar is wasted on just paying interest on that debt instead of 20% out of every tax dollar going towards rec centers, road repairs, and transit, for example. This is a structural deficit. In 2009, the deficit for that 1 year alone was $447 million. At the current rate, it will grow to $1.1 billion per year by 2019. This is the number one issue because the current council has been unwilling or unable to deal with this debt or both. If we, the voters, don't deal with this on October 25th and elect councillors with financial backgrounds that deal with this massively growing debt immediately, then instead of 20 cents out of every dollar going to interest, it will potentially be 40 cents out of every tax dollar 4 years from now. That is completely unsustainable and threatens the viability of the city itself. The City of Toronto's debt rating has already been reduced once. Every time it's downgraded, that means the city is charged a higher interest rate on its debt and costs the city even more to pay the interest on the same debt. That means even more tax dollars are lost to interest payments and even fewer tax dollars are available for the programs and services we need, deserve, and have a right to have. That is why I will address this issue by being our next councillor, because we need someone who has a financial background to deal with this issue. Someone who understands that authorizing projects like a stacked 4-arena complex, when $31 million out of an $88 million cost has no funding, is not only a bad financial decision, but shows a lack of accountability to us. We need someone who has a financial background and experience and who understands that sound financial experience and management is not just about slashing services, programs, and spending, or privatization, but it's about effectively using our tax dollars, reviewing the budget, doing multi-year budgets, creatively looking for new revenue streams within the city, regionally, and beyond, and who understands the need to do this in a socially progressive way. I will use my experience to address this issue and will also use my experience in developing local and national partnerships to develop partnerships for the city with other municipalities, the province, and the federal government from day one. I will use my experience and my proven abilities to develop action plans that create win-win scenarios so these partnerships thrive because our partners do the right thing for the right reasons or for their own reasons from day one. I will use my experience and proven abilities to develop action plans for City Council and for our partners that create consensus at the highest level and not compromise at the lowest from day one. Toronto can't go it alone, and Toronto does not have the luxury of waiting another 1, 2, 3, or 4 years while a new councillor gets up to speed or the same councillor continues to worsen our financial crisis. This issue is the foundation of our home. This is why, if I am going to be able to address this issue, then I need to do this in partnership with the voters of our community. I have been addressing this issue over the last 3 months by going door to door and talking to everyone I meet about their responsibility in addressing this issue and the need to elect me, Brad Faraday. I've shown my commitment to this issue and others by taking a 3-month leave without pay from the Canada Revenue Agency, by working 18 to 20 hours every day and using thousands of my own dollars because of how urgent I know this financial crisis is, and because I know that none of the other candidates have the financial background and experience to hit the ground running from day one. This is the most extraordinarily urgent issue we have facing our city. We have 7 days to make sure everyone in our community understands the urgency of this issue. Once we have our financial house in order, then I will use my passion, my vision, compassion, and partnerships I've developed within our community and beyond to continue building our city from what it is to what it could be. On October 5th, 25th, vote Brad Faraday. Thank you. This election is about where you want the city to be 4 years from now. Do you want 4 more years of deficits like the last 8? that could result in more pool closures and transit being reduced? Or do you want our community moving forwards to what it can be? A community served well by a councillor who is engaged and transparent, who develops partnerships at all levels, and who has effectively dealt with Toronto's financial quagmire from day one, so that more money can be used for the services we need and deserve. A councillor who has a background in finance and years of experience effectively fighting for people at both the local and the national levels, and who has proven abilities to build action plans so people do the right things for the right reasons or for their own reasons. This past Friday, Ms. McMahon accepted John Tory's endorsement. As leader of the Conservative Party in 2007, he campaigned on a platform that included plans to introduce private health care in Ontario and to fund faith-based schools. This is the man who Ms. McMahon said in the online edition of the Star that she admires and is honored to have his support. Is this the vision and leadership you want in your councillor, or do you want someone who understands that there is no place for such conservative and short-sighted policies? You have to decide if you want someone such as myself, who can see the big picture within the framework of being fiscally responsible and socially progressive, and who has been endorsed by the Liberal Member of Parliament, Maria Minna. I urge each and every one of you to really think about the skill set, experience, background, and character that you want in your next councillor, and encourage others to do the same. I urge you to not only vote, but to encourage others to vote for me, Brad Faraday. Thank you.